You are watching this video because your door won't stay closed and latched. And it seems like you're going to have to re-drill and move all this stuff. No, you're not. There's an easy remedy. I'll show you how. So, as seasons change, especially when you live up north like we do, up where winter comes and it gets really cold, your house flexes and changes its shape just enough to cause you a little irritation. Last night, the dogs pushed their way in and jumped up into bed with us. And I wondered, I had that door closed. Why is it not staying closed? Well, it's because this little latch mechanism is not lining up anymore. You can see that it's not lining up, and the little plunger isn't plunging. It isn't like latching in to keep that door shut. Last week, our grandson pushed his way in here while I was changing clothes, which is not the end of the world, but you think it's latched. It could be more important things like maybe you have a room with medications and you want to keep it locked and it's not locked anymore. So for you, I'm going to show you the easy way to adjust this. And I learned this. I have to credit our contractors who are outside right now building our other house. We're in our guest house, or it's like a cabin. It's a small, probably apartment-like place. And this is only 3 years old, so you'd think this would line up. Well, when the seasons change, the building changes just enough to make that not line up exactly right. And for years, I would take this plate out and re-drill everything or try and fix how the door is installed. And that is a lot of work. You can see I did it wrong because I left screws out because I had set that in the wrong setting. So the screws caused that, and found out it's all wrong. The answer I found out from our contractors is simply tighten up your upper hinge screws. So I thought, well, I don't think in this case that's going to work for me. That sounds too easy. But I took my, and do this carefully because you don't want to strip the screws and have them not holding the door well anymore. So I go in just a little tighter on each of these screws. You might even want to do it by hand so that you're careful not to strip anything. Just a little tighter. And on my first run through, I did this, do all 6 of them. I did this where it's not very tight at all. And I use all my force so I'm not stripping the screws either. And by stripping, I mean 2 things. You don't want to turn this screw into the wood frame so much that you tear out the wood, because then your hinge is no good anymore. Then you're going to have bigger problems because you're going to have to reinstall a hinge. I don't even know how to fix such a problem. So you don't want to go there. You also don't want to strip the head of that screw because it might be harder to take it out someday or to tighten it back up someday. So get in there and make sure that's seated correctly and give it, I turned my drill down to a lower level where it won't turn as fast. I'm going to actually anchor myself against this wall so I can put adequate pressure on this one screw. And coax it in there without stripping it. Putting the extra pressure on there keeps you from stripping that screw head. And again, don't over tighten. There you go. Okay, so I tightened up each of these. Probably a little less than I thought I would need to. And then I pulled the door shut. Voila, it's done. It lines up just right. And now the door keeps itself completely closed. You can see that that part is seating itself just fine. Absolutely. On the first try, I got that door so it's seated correctly for the seasonal change. This also takes care of any problem if your door is rubbing the frame at any particular point. It gets it more square to the housing that it sits within. But yeah, this door is all firmed up just by simply tightening one of the hinges. You can go the opposite way too, but usually the problem is the door sags a little bit this way, and you need to tighten this hinge on the top side. So there you have it. That's how you resolve your door not closing and latching properly, just by simply starting with adjusting your hinges. And that's the easy start. Usually the adjustment of the top hinge is all you need to do to make the change that's just enough to make this work. You know, really the problem too is if this door has been latching adequately during most of the year and all of a sudden isn't anymore, and as long as your doorknob assembly is working adequately and this plunger is moving freely, then you shouldn't have any other problems getting this lined up. You can see that's in there nice and firm. Sometimes this mechanism sticks, and you can put a little graphite in there. I used to spray oil in there, or WD-40. WD-40 is the wrong thing to put in there. It might lubricate it today, but it dries it out. The graphite's the correct thing. There's a graphite, what would you call it, lubricant that's meant for doorknobs. But that's a whole different subject. As long as this is plunging out and the knob is moving it adequately, it should line up correctly with that plate, strike plate. Now you can see this is working just fine. So I invite you to write any comments of any experience you have below. You can all learn from each other. Thanks for watching Frosty Life, and I hope that your home project is working out well for you. Thumbs up if you like this video. Thanks for watching.